Hello, my name is Evie and welcome back to Overwatch Everyday. This is a series where I play 1 to 5 ranked games each day and I explain my thought process that gets me up to champion on all roles throughout the video. In this video, I start off by playing some dive heroes like Winston and Wreckingball, even a little bit of a Roadhog, and I explain my perk choices in depth later in the video. And sometimes I might be picking a few controversial perk choices or ones that you might not expect. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Ooh, which one did I get? Which one did I get? I got tank. Okay, awesome tank video. I forgot I can just vote random map. I think, honestly, for the purposes of this video, I think I'm gonna start just voting random map, or the purposes of this series. I'm just gonna try to vote random map every time because I think it would be really good. I want to be talking about how to adapt and how to play on a lot of different map types and different maps, but let's be honest, whenever King's Row is in the pool, it's a King's Row game. So I think random maps for the purposes of this series, I'm just going to be voting random maps. I still don't want to be doing bans, or I'm not going to be picking bans because I like to adapt and adjust to whatever my team wants to do. And if one person votes and nobody else does, then it's going to, or the bans are going to go through just from that one person. So I could help my teammates out with banning things or try to ban things that I think are the best. But I'd prefer to just sort of briefly talk about which bans could be good rather than just actually putting them into the game. So I am playing this on a new patch. I don't fully know everything that I don't know all of the inner workings of what's changed in the meta, which heroes are better, which heroes are worse. I know that Kiriko has a little bit less range on her TP. We'll be healing actually a significant amount more. It's kind of, I mean, we were all asking for Kiri buffs. Everybody was asking for Kiri buffs. We all wanted this. Some Mercy double hit scan, that definitely seems pretty strong. I think that I want something to buffer. I want something to Wallari. Okay. I'm actually gonna play Roadhog. I'm gonna try out Roadhog for this point specifically because I'm gonna see how it goes with the Mercy Wallari. I don't want to be taking much healing resources. Roadhog did just get a pretty significant nerf, but I think the other option would kind of be Ball, Junker Queen, which I don't really want to lean into right now. I want to see if I'm able to talk about any more heroes, but if things are going poorly, I'll probably just swap the Ball. So as this fight starts and I hear the spear coming out, I just want to see if I'm able to hold the point. We're able to force out their Orisa's gold, which is going to be pretty nice for us. Ideally, we're having our shooters not all stacked in the same lane. But because we're all corralled in this little corner, I'm going to actually just go somewhere completely else because the only way that we're going to be able to win, and basically any time that you're going to be playing for your shooter's value, is going to be taking angles and map control. Because the more area you have to play on a map, the more likely you're going to have to get shots. And I'm not giving myself many hook opportunities here, but it's going to be pretty difficult given that their Orisa is just kind of stuffing us in this little doorway. But their Orisa is going to be on the other side of the map here, so we do have an opportunity here to hit a hook. So unfortunately, I missed. And with the nerf to the cooldown time, it's going to be kind of rough. I forgot her name. The Spider-Man uses her ult. I'm just gonna die. This feels really bad. I feel like it's gonna be really hard. I don't have any speed boost to actually commit onto their backline or get any real hooks onto their backline. They're all able to use their mobility to space me out. Their Reese is gonna be able to stop my hooks very easily. So Hog's just gonna be a little bit too difficult there for me to get value. So I'm gonna swap the Ball. The idea behind Ball right now is that I'm going to be able to pressure out their support and use my mobility to continuously open space on the map because like I was mentioning earlier, angles and map control are going to be really, really important for my team to perform here. So we're immediately going to go in and clean up a lot of the lower HP targets, forcing the Kiriko to Suzu. I'm just going to be poking out this Juno as well. I want to make sure that they're as uncomfortable as possible walking up. I'm actually going to look for a slam here, as I hear my Bob coming out especially. And just be a little nuisance. We don't have to do anything that fancy, but if I'm able to like bait any of them into my Bob LOS, that could be really good. I'm just gonna sit on top of this little high ground and scout where they're going, what they're doing. I'm gonna try to force their Kiri TP early. And we do get the TP force, which is pretty nice because now we're gonna be a lot more of a threat to that Kiriko directly. Ideally, I want to force that Kiriko out and then look for kills on the Juno. I'm just trying to buy some time to get my shields back, so I'm going to be going up into the air, proc my Initiator perk, or my Initiator subclass, and just playing to AFK inside the Pylon LOS. And I have my shields back online in just a moment, so I'm just going to be pretty safe here regarding this Orisa as I spin onto us. I'm very low HP and it's very likely that I was going to die, so I'm just going to put my minefield main to make sure that I can get some sort of value in this fight. Continuously trying to... Wow, that hurts! That was 200 damage! Wow, okay. I don't know how that hero works too much yet. The Orisa's 1 HP. I need to clean this up now. The Orisa goes down, an amazing res by my Mercy. I'm going to just be pressuring out their main area here. I'm on the Spider-Man and I'm just going to be trying to chill the best that I can. I see the Tracer recall inside of us. Probably she's going to be tapping through this left side. I want to see if I can help my Tracer, but they get away from us a bit. Looking for a slam on their Spider-Man, trying to blow them up. I can be looking for a slam on main, making sure that I save my grapple there in case the Orisa spears me after my slam. Because if I got sent into the pit without my grapple, things would be looking really, really bad for my team very quickly. Thinking about how I maybe want to touch here. Looks like our Tracer's going to have for a good while. The Orisa's going to find the E onto our Sun, which kind of sucks, but unfortunately not much we can do about it. The Orisa falls really low and we're able to continuously force out their gold. Their spin comes out, and I want to chase this kill. If we're able to clean up this Orisa and now the Kiriko, we're going to be looking in a really good spot for the rest of this. We see their Spider-Man use their movement ability. I don't know how many we get. I think it's multiple charges. But now we just want to be trying to stop their touch however we can. So I'm going to be looking at this Juno especially since we just saw their Tracer go down, and we will be closing out that round. Definitely Hog was a little bit too hard for us to get any value on there. And we almost threw a few times on ball. Fortunately, our Mercy was able to come in with a pretty clutch res as the enemy team was about to cap, and we were able to convert that into a win. But with the Mercy Alari, just thinking about how you can be playing to require very low resources, Ball is going to be like a really, really amazing pick for that. I probably also could play Junker Queen here, but playing into Junker Queen into Orisa is really hard. It's really, really, really hard. But Wreckingball is going to be the right pick here with this team comp and into their comp. We see them on Juno Orisa looking to be the same comp again. If I see their Orisa step up at all, it means that I want to be looking to hit their back line. I'm not going to be able to buffer their Orisa all that much since they have so much CC. Actually, now, if they have shield perk, I can buffer this Orisa a bunch. The only thing that they actually are going to be able to do to me is spear me. Which if I can bait them to miss, ideally, I get to actually real roll throughs and they're not able to stand there forever. But I'm just going to be rolling around here, looking at their backline. I see their Juno go low, so I'm going to be looking for a slam, but I unfortunately missed. Still just trying to zone whoever I can. Since this Orisa is playing in spots, it's probably going to be a little bit too hard for us to actually like force out. I'm just going to be in their backline, playing life the best that I can. Grab this Mega. The Tracer's trying to chase me down, but I think that will be okay for us. We're still going to be living in the back line. Now we're in a spot where we can just shoot out their squishies as much as we want here. I'm going to be trying to kill their Spider-Man just because I don't think the Tracer's going to hit like any miracle kills. But I don't know what that new hero does, so that's like an unknown quantity. That's an unknown threat to me, and I want it dealt with now. Now that they're on Winston, Wreckingball actually has a really great matchup into Winston. Something that you really want to be considering is whenever you're assessing like sort of a tank matchup is who's going to be having like more general uptime. And with Wreckingball having more general uptime, they're going to have a lot less of a power spike than Winston will. Winston is going to have one bubble on a like 12-second or something cooldown. And that's going to be Winston's like main form of getting value. But with Wreckingball, they're going to have a lot smaller hits. They're going to have a lot easier time just sort of like rolling around, shooting their gun. So every time that, if you're ever able to be kind of a constant presence and constantly annoy the Winston and force out their bubbles early, you're going to be basically completely negating their Winston's value because you are eliminating their power spikes because it kind of like perfectly matches up into your consistent value and your like regular roll throughs. So if I'm ever able to get a force, or if I'm ever able to force Winston bubble with a hit, then it's going to be putting my team in an amazing spot. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do it there. I get a pretty big slam onto their backline, and their Cassie's going to miss their flash. Since they have Ray on point, my team is going to have to AFK for a while. But I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to roll around. I don't want to give up flip. I don't really want to commit anywhere. So I just want to put myself in position where it's going to be hard to deal with me. But not actually like committing onto them like so much. Their Juno goes very low. They have a Primal Rage top fighting on my backline, but because we made it really difficult for their Cassie to walk up just by sort of like rolling around the point, we are going to close out this game really easily. And that will be it. We ended 21-2. Pretty good for our first game here in this session. I still don't know what Sienna does that much. I really like her design. I really like her design. But I don't know what she actually does all that much. When that hit me, when that ultimate hit me, it was actually like really surprising how much damage it did. But honestly, I think that I don't know how good the hero is actually going to be. And that will put us right into Grandmaster 4. We love to see it. Hopefully champ pretty soon. I was giving both roles to see which which video I would record for tonight. And it just happened to roll tank. So that's why I'm going to go all the way out and not just hit the requeue button. I think with this big patch, really important things to note. Generally going to be the Kiri change, the Vendetta nerfs, and the Ramatra changes. If you're going to be a tank player, then I think Ramatra is going to be a hero that you might want to consider adding into your hero pool. I think Ramatra is going to be really strong, unfortunately. I don't like Ramatra. I don't like playing against Ramatra. I don't like playing with Ramatra, but they are going to be pretty strong right now, I think. Having the slow, like the kind of like insta slow or like controlled slow, so you're able to pop it whenever and like let it land wherever you want it to go, is going to be insanely strong in the divers. It's going to be really good to clean up kills. Your overall sustain is going to be way better with Ramatra's new minor perk, where your shield is going to last a little bit longer and it's just going to be generally bigger. It's kind of an insane buff to Ramatra and everything that they want to be doing. Ramatra is going to be a hero that can lock down an area in space very, very well. To the point where you want to, you're a lot of times you're going to be picking Ramatra just for the sole factor of they're going to have some of the most uptime as a tank. And all that shield does, or that shield miner does, is it allows you to get your form force way less, your poke phase to extend or be extended like way longer, and overall just make you way more difficult to kill as Ramatra. And going into the major perk is actually disgusting. You do a ridiculous amount of damage. The amount that you get put in to you is insane. So we see Detta, Emre, Mercy, Ana here. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna put the fries in the bag for this one, and I'm gonna be playing Zarya. Now, why I'm picking Zarya is this is gonna be a very, very strong composition. I mean, you'll be seeing Zarya Detta as one of the like most prominent combinations in ranked, especially for the past like 2 seasons to 3 seasons, and for very good reason. Want to be constantly noting where my Detta is and where my backline is. There, my Detta like does a little 3-2-1, so I know that they're gonna need some help pretty soon. I'm gonna use both my bubbles. They're gonna get me 40 charge, which is not as much as I really would like, but it's what I'm going to be getting. The Reaper stepped at my Emre, and unfortunately I will not actually have the oh, I thought they were gonna res. I really wanted to res there. My Detta continues to go in as long as I'm sort of giving them bubbles and staying alive. Whenever you're playing Zarya with the Zarya Detta, you want to make sure that you're not getting forced out too early, because you want to be the final boss. You know, you want them to like clear out your Detta, use all of their resources to force out the sword lady, and then you're chilling there, the final boss of the gauntlet, like ideally like max charge, and then you get to clean up, you get to claim all the kills. Of course you want to be doing what you can, poking them and pressuring however much you're capable of without dying, but ideally you want to make sure that you're living for those late fights and just sort of like controlling space around the map in the meantime. Unfortunately I was forced to bubble my Emre there, and I was not able to put it onto my Detta, but I'm just going to be staring at my Detta's health here. I see them get punched by the Doomfist. My Emre goes for some pretty big plays. The Reaper gets their form force. I'm going to be bubbling my Emre once more just because they're in a really strong spot. They've been doing a lot. I just want to continuously be making sure that nobody dies who doesn't need to die. And even though I'm not getting much charge, even though the enemy team isn't shooting my bubbles that much, it doesn't mean that those bubbles aren't getting value. A lot of times people won't shoot bubbles because the person who you bubbled is bubbled, you know? They don't want to give you charge as Zarya, but it also means that whoever you're bubbling, if they're ignored, they're going to be looking to be like super, super strong. So the Doomfist goes in on my Ana. My Detta will be going down. I want to be looking and putting myself in a position to bubble whoever is going to need it the most as their Doomfist lands. So here is exactly where we were talking about. We pop our Valk, but I really don't want to be fighting with that Doomfist on this low ground here, so I'm going to take him away from his support LOS, so we get a real 1v1 with him, and our Mercy is going to be able to pocket us. We get a pretty solid grab, but unfortunately I'm not able to follow up on it. Their Sojourn had a... oh, okay. Their Sojourn had a really good play by just stepping up to this high ground. I'm going to try to load them up for it. I want to make sure that my team is able to be safely exited from this space. I picked the jump perk because I think that it's so underrated. The jump perk is actually like insane value, especially on maps like this, because I'm able to just like pressure out this Kiriko now like perfectly safely. Their Doomfist can't do anything to me. 3, 2, 1. I'm able to stable on these high grounds really consistently with the jump perk, and I would not be able to be having this much presence or this much uptime or putting myself in positions to make it easy for my supports to carry me nearly as easily if I was going the was it like I give my teammates like extra movement speed and initiate like healing? Yeah. That perk is definitely very good, and when you're playing something like a Bastion Zarya, it can be definitely worth considering, but I would say probably like 70% of the time, 60 or 70% of the time, you're going to be wanting to pick the jump perk just because it allows so much versatility in your play. Their Sojourn's going to jump at me. Ah, I just barely didn't bubble. That's okay. They used 2 ults. They used their overclock. They used their nano. We did not use anything. Actually, pop out kind of sucks, but is a-okay. I think that as their Doomfist goes in, I'm just gonna throw a grab on them and open up the map that way, making sure that, especially as we're retaking, we're looking at our Vendetta a lot here. So our Ana's gonna get naded and our Vetta's gonna walk up this right side. So I'm going to be using one bubble to just sort of clear out this left side. I'm going to see if I'm able to pair my Detta as they walk out. And now that our Detta's open the map, it's time for us to walk. I want to see if I'm able to clutch this up. Really great wall from their Mei, really bad for us. This happened a few times where their DPS have gone for some play to make my grab very difficult. Though granted, I think that it was probably a bad grab because our DPS were down. So I'm going to probably swap here. I'm wondering what I would want to swap to. I think actually I probably will say Detta. Now that it's a lot more front to back, as long as I'm carrying the walls, we will probably just win here. My Detta goes down pretty early. And I'll be falling very low. Huge nano boost coming out with my Emre, so we're going to be able to clean up this fight. I want to ideally be clearing this Doomfist, making sure that they aren't able to trade on anyone, trying to bubble who I think that they are going to go on. Let's see if I can force block here and then just leave them. I want to stagger. I don't want to kill them instantly, but we will get a pretty okay stagger. Now we are going to be able to poke up. I want to make sure that I'm saving a bubble here to help my Vendetta use their ultimate. I just want to use one for charge here, and then probably chill the rest of this poke phase. My Emre gets a pretty good kill onto their onion, so I'm just going to be chilling. Emre falls pretty low. I just want to be poking their backline. With my Emre falling asleep, it can be a little scary, but I just want to be... I can bubble you, I can bubble you, I can bubble you. Their onion's walking onto me. I'm in a pretty bad spot here, so I'm gonna be kiting into these rooms, forcing them to sort of like walk and funnel into me, making my tracking a little bit easier and my duels a little bit more selective. I think that there's still somebody inside here. And Carry TP'd out. I'd like to see Anna. Okay, there's Sienna. Oh my god, my Emre's. I wanted to be in there. I missed the bubble onto them initially, unfortunately, so I gave them the chance at dying. So I'm going to be looking for my grab aggressively here, thinking about who can touch on their team. It's going to be their Onion and their Doomfist. I miss on... Yo, my grabs suck. I'm just going to back up the point, making sure that we don't see 9. I really don't want my Ana to be the one touching. So I want to make sure that I am the one who's able to do it. And their Doomfist is going to see 9. I miss my ult. They're going to miss their ult on the point. It's okay. It all balances out. So, going into our second round, we held on third point. We had 13-2. I really didn't get all the value that I really needed to out of the grabs. Each one had a clear idea behind it. I just thought that their Doomfist would take a second longer to actually like use any of their movement abilities to get into that last area on third, but I just wasn't tracking. It probably would have been better to just wait a little bit longer and use it on point a bit more consistently, or it would make it a lot more consistent and get value there. I just wanted to try to see if I could tempo them out and make it really desperate for the rest of their team to touch, because I was a little bit scared with some of the ults that they had coming up. If they were able to get in and touch the point, that we would end up losing even with our grav. So I wanted to see if I could tempo with it, but if you miss it, then lol, it's just not going to be value. So we're going to be having a similar comp here on attack. I'm going to try Zarya here. There's going to be a few ways that you want to be like changing your play on attack here, Zarya. It's going to be a lot less about just sort of like living and locking down space. Now you're actually going to be needing to take space, and now if you aren't getting charge here on your attack, it's going to be way harder to put the game into your hands. So we're going to assess how much charge we're able to get these like first 2 fights or so, and then play off of that. We see our Detta on this high ground. So now that we see our Detta taking space is when we're going to be wanting to take space, constantly putting ourselves in positions to actually follow up. I'm using one bubble to walk up here, and I unfortunately do not have good LOS of my Detta, but we will get it eventually. I'm just going to break this teleporter on the point. Taking a look at my backline yet again. We're winning the game right now, so I don't have to do all that much. My Detta is able to get in and sort of blow all of them up. And I'm going to be chasing down the sim with the rest of my team. We will be able to find that kill, which is great news. I want to see if I can let my Detta sort of frag out a bit more. I don't know who they see over there. I don't know exactly what fight they're fighting. So I'm going to just throw my bubble onto them, and I'm just going to be AFK and chilling here. Putting myself on this corner just because this is pretty important space to hold, as well as if they start walking on my Ashe, it's going to be a little bit easier to care. I'm waiting a little bit more before I put a bubble onto my Ana. Still just holding down the space. I don't need to take space yet until they're in a position where like we can't just push a cart forever. But I think now is about the time in which I want to be. I can still push the cart a little bit. I think the better play, if I had charge walking up that top left area, would be really strong. But as it was only our Detta fighting on the high ground, I'm not going to be getting the charge since they're going to be capable of just avoiding it. I'm going to push this Bob so they're actually kind of a threat on the point. And I'm able to walk up inside of Bob LOS. They do get slept, which kind of sucks. So we just kind of wasted some time pushing that Bob, but it'll be okay in the end. Their Doomfist is going to go in here. I don't have bubble yet for my Detta, but as soon as I get it, I'm going to pop it on them, as I'm just making sure that I'm living through this entire fight. Scouting exactly what's going on. I see their Kiriko and their Ana walking on that right side. I think that's going to be chill. It's going to be kind of hard for me to stuff, but I'm just going to be trying to enable my Detta stuff. Something really important to note is, like, I am the off tank. When you're playing Zarya Detta, the reason why it's so prevalent is just because it acts basically exactly as like main tank off tank, and the Zarya is going to be acting a lot more as an off tank. I don't need to be as proactive as I would be for like other tanks here. I think that the Tracer is full, so I'm just keeping an eye on them as I walk forward. I want to get on this cart and make sure that I'm able to see my team as they walk up, and we are going to be able to find these frags and close out the second point. Very nice. Now I want to be taking some space because they're down their Doomfist, they're down their Tracer. They're not going to have actually that much damage to deal with me, especially since I'm decent charge right now. I'm gonna break this wall, trying to help out my Detta as much as I can. I don't have bubble here. I'm gonna just grab. I think this will be okay. We are able to find the kill onto their Onion. I'm gonna be walking down their Ana here, just making sure that they're not going to be able to heal. As their Onion walks in, we are going to just bubble ourselves, which will effectively act as a shield for their Ana, who is still in the spawn, and we will be winning that game. Ending 22-2, definitely solid. I don't think our grabs on the first round were that good. I think that one grab we had on the second one was very solid, and I think the pretty important part about winning there, if you aren't able to snowball on that third point, or especially those sort of like close range brawl one lane points, it can be kind of difficult to recover from a little bit later into the game. So trying to make sure that you can snowball, or at least attempting to in any way, is going to be a pretty important factor of like winning those, and making sure, or just thinking about using your ults wisely in some way. The Zarya, especially in Zarya Detta, isn't all about actually killing and opening up space. You want to make sure that you're trying to enable your team as much as you can, or at least like using your team to open up space for you to frag, similarly to a DPS. I'm gonna stick by my rule. I'm gonna try to pick random map, but I think that this is looking to be an Antarctic Peninsula game. Okay, I have not looked at the new map reworks. I have not played this map yet. I am completely blind here. I have not played this map since they took it out of the map pool. I used to adore this. I really like the old Antarctic. I don't even know why they really took it out. But this is going to be completely new to me. Looking like we have a Widow, Sojourn, Kiri maybe? Maybe Widow's good here. I don't fucking know. I have no clue if Widow's good here anymore. It used to be like maybe have an eyebrow raise at a Widow pick. Maybe the map was like okay for Widow. I don't know if they changed it in a way that will make this good for Widow, but I guess we'll see. I mean, Ramatra would be really good here. Domino would be really good, considering we have a Mercy. Okay, considering I'm just gonna treat this as a new map. So I don't want to be doing anything too fancy. I don't want to be like double downing on like discomfort zones. So I'm just going to pick a really, really comfortable hero for me. I'm going to pick someone that I know. I'm going to play Winston. Oh, I missed this map. Is the fishing hole still there? That's awesome. Okay. We're going to be on double hit scan Mercy Kiriko. So we are looking around. That seems closer than whoa what the fuck. Okay, so they're on Orisa with that Sojourn on right. I'm just gonna be looking to step maybe. I don't know if the Orisa is gonna be able to peel me if I go over there. We see the Kiriko on main and their Sojourn on main. I'm looking at my backline here. I'm gonna be jumping over this to find a dive onto their Sojourn. Now their Kiriko and Sojourn are completely out of the fight, and we're able to turn around on this Orisa, who has just used their gold. So we're going to have a huge CD advantage on the point. The Orisa's not going to have much of their staying power because we forced out the people who their Orisa was meant to be enabling there. And we are going to be turning this around. Okay, so the main things that change is like how you actually approach this. I need to see what's going on inside those rooms at some point. Looking like this is going to be a Winston mirror. The Winston mirror has just changed a little bit, where it's going to be a little bit more valuable now to actually shoot or counter dive the enemy Winston, because you do a little bit more extra damage to barriers. Here you can see my hit marker is going to be yellow instead of white now, showcasing that I'm doing a little bit of extra critical damage to the enemy Winston bubble. Their Ana has no sleep. I'm actually gonna kill that. Yeah, I don't think they have the damage to really kill me. And if their Kiriko TP's back, that's fine. It just means that it opens up space for my team, and I will be okay as I kite back into my Kiriko LOS. I think this is gonna be the perk here. I'm picking the speed boost perk because I kidnapped their Sojourn into the room, and now I want to be immediately getting onto this Ana. And seeing who else I can clean up in the meantime. Okay, I'm starting to see how this point works. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I picked the speed boost perk because I find both Winston's miners are very, very good. You can pick either, it doesn't really matter that much. I prefer the speed boost perk in rank because especially with heroes like Kiriko, Onion, Tracer, Sojourn, being able to follow up a bit more consistently on your hits and making sure that you get value out of your dives by sort of chasing down those targets and having to rely a lot less on your right clicks as Winston is going to be a ton of value IMO. And I would even say it's a pretty slept on perk. You'll see a lot of high rank Winston players picking the primal perk, and the primal perk, or the primal like landing extra damage is really good, but it's not as necessary as I think people want to make it out to be. And the speed boost perk is going to mainly allow you to be a lot more versatile and flexible into various different comps, because with the speed boost perk, the main thing that's going to help you do is bubble dance a little bit easier. Whenever you're M1ing someone and you get that extra speed boost, it'll allow you to maneuver in and outside of your bubble a lot easier. So whenever you're fighting an Ana, whenever you're fighting a like a Reaper or a Kiriko or something that can do like a bunch of like burst damage to you, or like potentially hit like a one shot, it'll allow you to maneuver around and dodge out abilities a lot easier by playing around your bubble. So if we see this Winston going low, I'm just going to chase this guy to the ends of the earth now, I think. Never mind, I'm taking on the Onion. So the Onion falls very low. I'm looking for my primal now. I know that the carry is going to TP, so I don't want to commit my jump yet. I want to save it so I can use it to follow up. The Kiriko goes very low, and it's going to try to be going over, and she's going to be super 1 HP this entire time, but unfortunately I'm not able to clean it up, and they are going to get point flip. This is going to be kind of worst case scenario for us. We really need a kill with that primal. Maybe going on the Juno would have been a little bit more consistent value. I'm scared of the barrage. Oh, she can move with it too now. I'm backing up. We need to really stable. The Pharah goes down, and the Winston's gonna pop primal here if we get them too low. So I'm gonna just be backing. Ideally, I'm trying to keep LOS for my Mercy so she's able to get out. We don't have any ultimates on the board. They're going to have their primal rage very soon, and their Onion. So I'm just gonna be backing up. As their Onion goes in, it'll be cutting off their space to stabilize. They broke my bubble really fucking fast. What? I was able to proc overtime, but I'm gonna need another touch. So I'm jumping on, and their Winston's going to be peeling me. I want to see if I'm able to play inside of my... There used to be a mini. Okay. They're gonna put Ray on the point, and we are going to be losing this round. Really interesting. I mean, it was mainly that one primal fight that we really needed to win, but my mechanics just weren't quite enough to clean up on the Kiriko. I think that going on to the Juno or the Winston would have been a little bit easier. What the fuck? What the fuck happened to this map? If we are going to be sticking this double hit scan, I might be playing a little bit slower and a little bit more stacked on my backliners instead of going for a lot of like these sort of individual or solo dives, as they end up, or especially once they swap onto the Pharah, they're peeling me quite a bit. It's going to be pretty hard to sustain. While it does enable my team a lot by pulling attention onto me. Oh, that's a new, okay. It's going to be kind of hard for me to actually like really live on those hits. I see they're far on right side, so I'm just gonna take left actually. And because we have double hit scan, it's gonna be really difficult for their team to really like actually win those poke exchanges, especially since their Onion was on that left side. Is the left side open anymore? I have no idea. I just genuinely don't know. Bar goes 1 HP, but we are not able to close it out. Definitely fine. We can bait them a little bit more into this open space. Hopefully finding a TP for Arteria. I'm going to bubble them because I'm really scared about them dying. If they die, it's going to be really, really hard for us. We're able to force out their Winston and make them back early. I'm going to be backing up myself a little bit here, though. I see their Emery on left. Now that they're on the Emery, we're going to be on a little bit more of a timer to actually do things. So we're forcing out that Emery, turning around and trying to zone their backline the best that we can. They're far bootless back, which is a-okay. As long as we're living here, we're going to be solid. That's why we picked this first. I almost have my Primal Rage online, so I'm going to be looking to clear out this Winston and then maybe chase with my own Primal here. I think that this fight might be winnable, especially since their Pharah blows himself up. Their Juno is going to be a little bit too hard for us to juggle, but we are going to force their Winston into us. We really don't want to be stuck in their Primal. I wasn't quite able to block the Suzu. But we will be getting the cap here. We use our Rush and our Primal Rage. They just use their Barrage and their own Primal. We need to be really, really careful of their Ray and Kitsune here. So as soon as they pop their Kitsune, we're going to be just bubbling, taking a look at our Bastion. I really don't want to be taking any damage here, so we're able to put literally everything into our Bastion, trying to keep them alive as long as we can. They still have the Rush up, so I don't want to be playing too aggressively yet, but I will take this step onto their Juno as I get the opportunity. I want to be holding the point as long as I can here, just letting our percent tick up. We find the kill onto the Kiriko with our Chain Lightning perk, so I'm going to be free to step onto their Juno immediately after. We see that they just swapped to Reaper. It's going to make us back up off of the point, but we do enable our shooters to walk forward. Their Emery is going to pop their ultimate ability, and our bubble is going to keep us alive through it for now. Now I finally get a look at the left side. Looks like it's completely unchanged. Reaper's under right now, so I'm going to be stepping on this. With their Winston on main, I'm going to be stepping on with Bubble here to zone off their Winston's healing. Now that their armor is completely forced, their Juno is not able to carry them. The Kiriko is forced to TP and Suzu in, and we're able to clean up their Winston immediately afterwards. Our Kiriko goes down, but the rest of our team is able to clean up because we forced out that Winston really, really early. There's going to be no real pressure for our Cassidy, and there's going to be nothing stopping them from just sort of walking on the point and blowing everybody up. And we will be taking the second point back. Now this is a sub point that I'm most curious about. Is the glass still there? Oh wow, what the fuck, what did they do? Okay. I don't know how this point's gonna go, but we are on the Juno Bastion Cassidy. Very, very important to note. We want to be playing around our Bastion forms a lot. I want to be taking aggression, enabling my shooters to shoot as much as possible. Looks like that right side opening is really new. I saw in the trailer that freezes you, so maybe I shouldn't jump up. The glass is removed. So I'm darn Roadhog. I'm just trying to stay super aware of threats. So as soon as I see this Reaper on this left, I'm gonna back up. I'm peeling my Bastion. I really want to know where their Emery is because I don't know what angles could be taking. I found him. This is the worst spot ever for me. So jump pad is gone. Reaper has no fade inside of our team, and their Emery is going to go down. Hog is playing on this back main area, and I want to be clearing this guy out the best that I can. So here, where the Reaper gets their fade forth, and we're going to be taking down, as soon as I have my bubble ready, I want to be stepping onto this Reaper again. They are getting like turbo pocketed, but our Cassie hits a really nice hinder, and we will be taking down that Reaper. I'm really scared of my Cassie dying, but I really want to make sure that we get the point cap effectively. Their Hog is on main. I might even bubble up to try to get a little bit of extra poke here. If I can farm my Primal fast, it's going to just kind of be an oh shit button and into their comp. I know shit button's gonna be really nice. Their Hog's walking on this right side. Emery's probably gonna take this right area too. I don't know what that left looks like, and I don't know how strong it is. So I want to be ready to match this left if I need to. But seeing like they're going to be going this right area. Emery's back main. I'm jumping on that as soon as I'm able to. Emery, jumping onto Emery is going to be pretty strong as Winston because you're able to use your bubble, which will completely stop all of their lifesteal off their shift. Okay, you can't go there to left. The Reaper's going to drop on the point. Their Kiriko's going to TP down here, which is amazing for us. I might need the Primal. I don't know where their Hog is. I found him. I'm going to Primal him. Reaper's in. He doesn't have a fade, but unfortunately I'm not able to actually do anything about it. So I'm just going to use my Primal. They're going to use their, or their, what's it called? The Emerald. And we'll be closing this fight on the back foot. I'm blocking the hook with my bubble and letting my Juno Ray just sort of frag out the best I can. They do have their Blossom, but we're just going to kind of stand in it. Since we still have our Ray up, it's going to be really hard, even with their Death Blossom, to like outbrawl us in a raw numbers exchange on point. So knowing that, we just want to sort of stay there, make sure that there's nothing that could go wrong. I could have gone for a really aggressive jump, but with an unmatched Ray, it's just going to be such high value that it's important to just make sure, like a bash in an unmatched Ray especially, it's going to be such high value that we just want to make sure that nothing go wrong for the people standing our Ray. So that's just why we're going to put our bubble there. We see their Hog on the right side, Reaper on low ground. Their Ray is going to be coming out on the point, but we do end up matching it with Rush. I'm putting time out by their Roadhog, but we are going to be able to live. Wow. Wow, okay. Our Bastion uses their form, our Cassidy gets hooked. This fight's going to be pretty lost here. Pretty good kill into their Juno, and I'm coming back fast. If our Bastion lives, we win? No. Okay. Last fight here. This doesn't go anywhere. I don't know how to retake effectively, so I just need to farm my Primal and find their Curie. Found their Curie early, and I almost have my Primal Rage. My Kiriko goes down. Wow. Okay. Their Curie is 1 HP. No, one touch. No, I would have killed them all. No. Oh, fuck, man. It was just that hook. That's tragic. I mean... Okay. That really sucks. We ended the game 30-2. I think if I was able to farm my Primal a little bit faster, if I didn't get hooked there... I got 7 upvotes. Oh wait, no, I got 7 final blows. I got 2 upvotes. Are you surprised? The game just sucks. It was really close. If I was a little bit better in a lot of different areas and a lot of different points of the game, we definitely would have and could have won that. But man, that hook is gonna sit in my mind for a while. How did it hit me? I know this isn't the most productive or educational, but sometimes I just want to like see if I can cope or not. Oh well, I guess it'll forever be a mystery. Won't let it get me down in this game though. Picking random map with the reworked Antarctic. It's a strange map. I mean, most of it's kind of the same. But there are like entire like areas that I just didn't explore whatsoever. We do get Shimbali here. A lot of pokier. A lot of pokier heroes are going to be pretty good on this map. Looking like we're going to have a Juno and a Kiriko. Banning the Tracer Deta, potentially a Zarya ban as well. Ramatra might be looking pretty strong here. Enemy team banned Hanzo and Diva. Not too much for us to know here, or note here. We just want to be thinking about kind of what sort of value we can get. I'm going to be playing around my team. I think the Ramatra would be insanely strong here. Reinhardt could also be pretty good. Sigma, Domina, Wreckingball, Doomfist. I could make Winston work here. If they have a very high damage comp though, something like Alari or Emre or Bastion or a double hit scan, Winston would be really, really difficult, but still viable. Looking like we're going to be a double hit scan, Juno, Kiriko. This is a bad habit of mine. It's really sucky to win the safest pick ever. The safest. There is no way that it could be wrong. Ramatra would be absolutely the right pick, but the match is canceled and I don't have to worry about it. And hopefully next map Ramatra won't be the best pick, because I don't really want to play Ramatra right now. I played a lot of Ramatra. I just earlier today I basically like scrimmed Ramatra for like 4 hours, and I queued like an hour of Ramatra before that, so I've kind of had my fill for the day. Going back into these games, looking like we will be maybe getting a Samoa. Looks like we will be getting Samoa here. I kind of like Samoa. That's a pretty good map. I'll be picking around what my team wants to be playing. Locking the Kiriko, the Tracer. There's a lot of things that we could be playing on Samoa here. I mean, Kiri Tracer are kind of like very hyper generalist heroes, so it doesn't give us a clear direction to sort of pick around. I'd like to see how Reinhardt would feel right now, especially into the new hero. I think that it would feel kind of bad because of the higher mobility hit scan. But I'm not entirely sure. I'll see what the rest of my team wants to pick, and then I'll try to be picking around it. We see a Curie Brig here. Okay, that gives us a little bit more of a direction. Our Brig is going to be wanting to step onto them and brawl a little bit more. We won't have as much like sort of angle control or lane control as like a Lucio or a Cat or maybe like a Mizuki would provide for us. So we're going to be a little bit more leaning front to back. Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me. Waiting for my DPS to pick something. Okay. Okay. I'll put the fries in the bag. Fine, I'll put the fries in the bag. Ramatra is really, really strong here for multiple reasons. Number one, I'm going to be able to buffer and enable my Brigitte to swing and step really, really easily. Number two, especially with the recent change to the Ramatra slow and being able to detonate at any point, is going to enable Venture and Vendetta a lot. Both of them being very close range brawl heroes. If you're going to be putting a slow down, it will stop the enemy team from walking away whatsoever. As they're on Winston, Ramatra is going to be a really favorable matchup if you play well with your slows here. I walk on their Sojourner and I commit my form because I saw them use their slide. I know their Ana's on right side. They're looking for a sleep onto me. I'm going to put their slow on their Winston. Every time that their Winston gets slowed, it means that they cannot jump as long as they're in it. And it's really, 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 really bad for their Winston. So trying to put your slows onto their Winston in early fight, and then maybe looking for your second slow in the fight to clean up. I got shot very low, so I'm just going to be popping my form and living the best that I can. With their Ana nades and their sleep darts are going to be really, really strong against us for Mantra. Their Winston stage above us. We see their Ana sleep go out. Their Cassie's on left side, so I'm just going to be putting my shield onto their Cassidy and trying to brawl out their Winston the best that I can. I could maybe try to step at their Cassidy in that fight. Help me, help me, help me, help me. Thank you. I see their Ana use their sleep and their I see their Ana use both their cooldowns, and that will be my trigger to walk, knowing that they have nade coming up again soon, but I'm still going to be trying to find that frag, and I do end up getting it, and seeing here that their Winston is just literally not able to do anything as we put slowdown onto them. Trying to identify where their Winston wants to kite to, or any sort of dive tank for that matter, is going to be really, really strong as a mantra, because if you're able to use your slow effectively, it will make it really difficult for the enemy dive tank to just play the game like at all. If you throw your slow onto them early as they're inside of your team's LOS, it means that they're probably going to be getting their abilities forced out, so that they're not able to dive later. If you get your slow onto them in late fight, it means that they are going to be sort of like blowing up. I pop my form early because I know I have my ult to extend, and I'm just gonna blow up anyways, actually. They use their Nano and Venture ult, which will shred through our Ramatra ult quite a bit, or very, very quickly, and we'll be losing that fight, but it's a-okay. We're gonna have a lot of ults on the field here, especially that rush is gonna be pretty important. I'm throwing my soul into their Cassidy to see if I can just like maybe catch them out. If I could, if it did land, then it would enable my Vendetta to immediately sort of like throw their E at that and blow it up, because there would be no way for their Cassidy to sort of like kite out of it. Their Venture is really close on this corner. As we see their dig out, it's going to be our trigger to really walk, and I'm throwing my slow onto their Venture and taking space with my shield. I have no idea how their Ana got over there so fast. I don't like this Cassidy over there, so I'm gonna blow him up. I'm throwing shield behind their Ramatra and make it way more difficult for them to get any care, and their ult is going to end way sooner. Making sure that you're using your shield as a way to cut off their backline when you don't need it to sustain yourself is going to be a really, really important habit to get into if you want to be succeeding on Ramatra. With the Cassidy on main, we have both of our DPS ults. That's a really bad slow from me, but I hear my sword pop, so I'm just going to use my shield aggressively, trying to take down this Cassidy who's walking up. I don't have my shield yet to cut off their support, but as soon as I get it, I'm looking to put it onto their backliner and live as long as I can, or trying to find any frags that I can. Fortunately, I will miss one of the pummels and I'm not able to take down their Ana, but I do get my insane power spike. This major perk is disgusting. It's so strong. You do so much damage with this major perk on your M1s, and combining it with this extra shield health and time that you have is insane. I'm really hoping my Vendetta does fortunately get touched, but now it'll be up to me to be living. My Brig is here, and I need to live the best that I can, extending and waiting to pop my ult until I get a decent opportunity to potentially find a kill, since I don't think that just living alone was actually going to be enough Maybe it would have been because we had so many ults online. I should have checked what ultimates my team was at before I decided to go for such a committal play. I'm stopping ball here to stall because it's going to be the fastest way to get back. I want to make sure that we're able to keep touch as long as possible since we have these like huge ults coming up. I'm going to bonk, which really sucks. Their matcha is really close to their ult. Yeah, there it is. I want to make sure that I'm giving my shields to my teammates and just stalling as long as I can. It's really important for me to be ready and be on point here because no one else on my team is going to be able to do it. With the rush on one side, I want to be playing the opposite side. They get a hinder onto my grapple. Using my slam just to get down onto the point a little bit faster. On a super one, my guy goes down, so I'm going to be trying to roll around the best that I can, but I will be going down shortly after. Really sucks. This game, I think if I just like popped my ult earlier and held block, and if I just held block and let my team win the game, we would have won. Not the most fun time in the world, but that's why I don't like RAM. Looking at our comp for this point, I think that the Fries are finding their way into the bag once more. I'm going Ramatra. I'm gonna sit on point. I'm gonna hold block, and we're gonna win the game. Sorry, I'm so negative. I got a little bit bummed reading the tank patch, or the tank note for the patch. See the adventure on left, and I get my form forest because we just don't have any map space. Their Cassie Fall is really 1 HP, and I'm gonna be just chunking down their Ramatra the best that I can with this major perk of mine. I have better form, and what I mean by better form is that when you're in a Ramatra mirror, your form is going to dictate most of what you want to be, or how you want to be sort of like playing. It's going to be your main power spike as Ramatra, in like at least a fight to fight sort of basis. So if you're able to get the second form, it means that you have forced the enemy Ramatra to form first. And if you're able to sustain their form, they're no longer going to have their big survivability cooldown that will let them live through your spike. So having better form, using your form second, is going to generally give you very strong advantages, and it's something that you want to be trying to play for in Ramatra mirrors. So as the Ramatra goes in, I want to be trying to pressure out their backline, cutting off their healing effectively, and holding block here, trying to give my team the best chance possible of winning, but unfortunately we will be going down. Going into this next fight here, we're going to be having a lot of ults off or coming online here. I think that we need to be worried about their Reaper ult potentially, and their Venture, I think. Maybe a Nano? I think they use Nano. As I know that they might be coming close on Reaper ult, I want to be checking our corners the best that I can. They use their shield really early, so that's going to be another thing about the Ramatra mirror, is if you get second shield, and if you get second form, usually they come hand in hand, it'll be really, really strong. So now that their form is basically over, we're going to be able to step and just sort of walk down the entire enemy team, because they don't have their form to sustain our walk anymore, but our form is active and deadly. So making sure that you're trying to put yourself in positions and AFKing the best that you can, so you don't get your shield forced early, or you don't get your form forced early, and you let your team play the game early, and then you can play the game really later, or sometimes just watch your whole team die. Is going to be kind of the name of the game. So we see their Venture ulting. I step up and I need to be chilling. great blizzard from my May and a great wall as well. The Ramatra goes really, really low. They tried to play the game a little bit too much and they will be punished for it. I'm going to be zoning their backliners with my shield, and as their Kiriko tries to step onto the point, our May will be finding yet another great wall and we will be closing out that round. Ending 19-5, like, we're doing well. Our damage mitigated is going to be really, really high. So it means that we're getting good value out of our shields. We're getting good value out of our blocks. Oh, wow. Wow. Heroes you can probably force if you're really, really good at, that aren't Ramatra. I'm curious how the Orisa matchup is into Ramatra, but I think now that both major perks are online, it's going to be pretty unviable. Orisa used to be able to sort of win or have a winning matchup against Ramatra because you would have really, really high poke, and the only like poke spike that the Ramatra would have was going to be shield. But now with the major perk doing so much damage, you're actually probably just going to be able to outpoke Orisa. So I'm going to be using my shield aggressively here to take a little bit of space. And we are able to get better form. Reaper is inside of us, so even though we have our better form, I'm just going to make sure that we're doing our due diligence. We are clearing our space. Because even if we get like some sort of big advantage, if we're giving the enemy team opportunities to like make up that advantage, like even if I find the kill onto Ramatra, if they kill both my squishes or like my whole team, then it's just not going to be worth it in the end. So making sure that we're still dealing with their threats and extending our advantage. Oh, that would have been sick wall. Is going to be really, really important to actually consistently winning games. So I'm going to be backing up. I'm actually matching shield. When you're defending, you can be matching shields because it means that they are not going to be gaining any ground from your plays. My May's going to find an amazing freeze onto their Ramatra. I'm going to be stepping onto their Venture here and blowing them up, and now we want to be poking spawn here, see if we can force out their shield or their form early at all. So they're on Zarya now. They want to be playing through their Reaper quite a bit, so every time we're able to force out this Reaper form, we are going to be winning or fade. Whenever the Reaper fade is out, it means that they're going to have a lot harder time actually like sort of walking or taking any space, even with bubbles onto their Reaper. It's going to be really difficult for them to take any space if the Reaper's not going to have their own survivability cooldown to actually get out. So here we see their Zarya getting really, really low. I'm just going to be backing up and using my shield. Reaper goes in, and I'm going to be zoning them the best that I can. Kiriko used their teleport. I'm going to match their rush with my ultimate here. Their Juno tries to escape, and I unfortunately am not able to catch it, but the Reaper is super 1 HP. We're able to blow that up, and their Venture is completely out of the fight. It's time for us to just turn point. I'm going to be walking this Juno first before I get onto their Zarya, just because cutting off their healers is going to be one of the main things that you want to be taking advantage of as Ramatra whenever you can. And all of that is going to close out that game. We ended 30-5, 18,000 damage mitigated in 13 minutes. I mean, it's a way to win. It's a pretty damn consistent way to win. I don't mean to be like super doomer. I still adore Overwatch. I really like playing this game. I really like figuring out how to win in each scenario. I just start to get a little bit sad when there's like going to be a very consistent way to win, and that way is not going to be very fun. Ramattra is going to be pretty strong in this patch. And I'm still coping about it. I'll be a lot more lighthearted in the next episode. But today was so much Ramattra. For me, I probably played about like unironically, no meme, 6 or 7 hours of Ramattra today. I just kind of I've had my fill. I've had my fill. But with that said and done, we will be continuing to keep our winning trend. We're ending GM4 on tank. Going 3-1 for the day, dropping that game on Antarctic Peninsula. Actually, before I go, hold on now. I really want to see this hook. Oh. Okay then. Yeah, okay. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Overwatch Every Day. I will see you guys tomorrow with the support video. Bye-bye.